Lord, it is good to give thanks to you. That's what our psalmist says today. And I think that statement that we repeated, Lord, it is good to give thanks to you, is such a good reminder for us that in our spiritual lives, our prayer is not just requesting and asking of God for something, but it's also to give thanks to Him for the blessings and graces that we have received. The Psalms, there are 150 of them. And it's said that the Psalms characterize every human experience and emotion. That the Psalms, when you don't know how to pray, maybe are able to give you words to pray to God in a difficult moment. There are lots of different types of Psalms. There are Psalms that are quite joyful, praising God. There are Psalms that are Psalms of lament. There are Psalms that are a cry of desperation. There are there are Psalms that are about God's mercy and pleading and atoning for our wrong. There is a psalm for every time and for every season. Lord, it is good to give thanks to you. And so we take today's psalm and we are encouraged by it. Then the spiritual life, it's good at the end of every day to look back and to see what I'm thankful for. Lord, it is good to give thanks to you at the end of this day. It's good to give thanks to you at the end of the week or at the end of the month. It's good to give thanks to you at the end of a year or maybe on a birthday, to look back and to see God's countless blessings. As I think of giving thanks to the Lord this week, I do so kind of with the mind of the church here in Shawano and Cecil, the church at large in the Diocese of Green Bay, and then also as an individual. Because this past week, we had the Eucharistic Revival. The National Eucharistic Pilgrimage entered the Diocese of Green Bay, and it came to the Shawano area. It came to Cecil. This National Eucharistic Pilgrimage, there are 4 different pilgrim routes. One began in Minnesota, another in New York, another in California, another in Texas, and they're all making their way to Indianapolis for the National Eucharistic Congress. And so the Marian route, which began in Minnesota, enters the Diocese of Green Bay. And so it arrived in Cecil. We had a holy hour in Cecil. We then processed through the downtown, if you will, of Cecil. And then we arrived at the boat launch where the Blessed Sacrament was taken in a boat procession, a flotilla, to go to Camp Tekakwitha in order for the young people to have a Eucharistic encounter. Lord, it is good to give thanks to you for the gift of the Eucharistic pilgrimage, for the Eucharistic blessings and devotion and graces that were shed upon this area. That as Jesus in the Blessed Sacrament was processed on Warrington Street in Cecil, that these bar patrons, they flocked to the door and they looked with great interest of what was going on, camera phone in hand. Lord, it is good to give thanks to you for the beginning of your working in our lives through the gift of the Eucharistic pilgrimage. The second thing, Lord, it is good to give thanks to you as a diocese that this past Friday, the United States Conference of Catholic Bishops approved the opening of the cause of canonization, that it could go forward for Adele Brice, the visionary of the 1859 Marian apparition in Champion, Wisconsin. And so it's a moment to give thanks to God because he sent his mother to give a message to Adele, and Adele spent the rest of her life fulfilling that message and that mission that was entrusted to her. And so, Lord, it's good to give thanks to you for the fact that you have raised up holy men and women who now inspire us in our apostolic works, our missionary discipleship. We give thanks to you, O Lord. It's good to do so. Another occasion for us to give thanks this week. It's Father's Day in the United States. And so we give thanks to God for the generativity of our Father, that we were given life. We thank God for whatever role that Father played in our life. And for the fathers, they give thanks to God for that gift of fatherhood that they have received, for the children that they've raised, for the family they've formed. So, Lord, it's good to give thanks for that in our life. And just lastly, what our readings today touched upon was God's providential care, that God provides for us, that the birds of the air find a tree to take shelter in, that the seed that the farmer plants, it grows and it grows and they harvest it. God provides. It's his providential care. And so if God cares that much about creation, animal and land, how much more does he care about you and me, created in his image and likeness? And so we become more aware of God's providential care in our life, how everything we have comes from God, how God sustains us, how everything, even the next breath we take, is a gift from God. So that providential care, Lord, it's good for us to give thanks to you for that. We gather Sunday after Sunday for the celebration of the Eucharist. We gather around the altar of the Lord, and that very word Eucharist means thanksgiving. And so it's good for us to gather around the altar to give thanks to the Lord for all that he has done for us. Today, with the psalmist and every day of our lives, let us begin to realize, Lord, it's good to give thanks to you.